Stop lying to your sellers. Do this instead. What's up, guys? Zach in here.
Rick in here.
And in today's video, we're going to implore you to stop lying to your sellers, the tactics of not being truthful to your sellers, and really going to share exactly what to say instead, because everyone gets this all the time. It's like they get a question and their automatic thing is to lie and make like the fanciest thing in the world in their head to make it sound good. And a lot of you guys are lying to your sellers and you got to quit it.
So guys, understanding it, the minute you start the lying process, you have to keep track of all your lies, and eventually you won't be able to keep the pace. Yeah. And maybe 1-2 buyers, but when you're trying to like coddle 10 or 20, and I already, you know my opinion, when you try to do 500 or 1,000, it's ridiculous. And also keep this in mind: when you start a relationship off by lying to somebody, you're showing your best foot forward, and it's just going to cause you more and more problems, and they're not going to trust you in the long run. So as a basic rule, lying to people, you might be able to cheat and get by a little bit, but I promise you it will catch up on you. Do not lie to your sellers.
So before we get into it, guys, before we share you exactly the things to say instead, you know, the most common ones like, hey, if you're virtual, where do you live? Do you have a proof of funds? Things like that. Do us a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe to get the most free value from us, and let's break it down. So one of the most common ways wholesalers lie to their sellers, and when you get caught on a lie, you literally lose the deal. And this is why we don't like it. It's just saying the truth, being upfront. Like, so number one, every virtual wholesaler gets this. It drives me insane because there's some YouTubers out here that tell you this, especially in virtual wholesaling. You know, like let's say you're virtually wholesaling in like Ohio and you live here in Florida, and someone asks, where do you live? Every single, like most people just say, oh, I'm locally in Ohio. Guys, if you have the confidence with yourself and you literally say, hey, no, I live in Florida, but my partners are in Ohio, it works so much better. I'm telling you, just that's one lie you have to remember, and then you just get caught, especially if you don't even have the right area code, right? Like if a seller asks where you're from, even if you're virtually wholesaling, like let's say in Orlando, and like that's like 2 hours away from us, I'm not going to say I live in Orlando. That's straight up lying.
You will get caught because we teach you how to build like intense, extreme rapport, and that requires sharing like personal stuff, like who you are, what you're about. And if you say you live in Ohio, but like you have a Florida like area code, and then you try to explain it and it's 100% lie, you're never ever going to be the stay on course, and most likely you're going to lose the deal. You don't win by lying to your sellers. I know a lot of you think, oh, I just got to do this one lie. The problem is one lie leads to another lie, and it never ever stops, and in the end it's not going to help you out.
It's insane the way I see sellers lie. I see sellers lie to buyers all the time too. It's a complete mess. And then we're trying to change this in this industry, because when you're truthful to your sellers, to your buyers, just telling the truth, like comes down to ethics to a point. It's like being honest and having your integrity. You will sound more confident. I promise you right now, when you're talking to a seller and you're saying the truth, you sound so much confident. Like even when it came back to like one of my first couple like appointments, and I didn't know, you know, what drywall needed to be fixed. I didn't know the cost of repairs of things. I wasn't confident with that, so I didn't sound as good. Versus if me or acquisitions person goes on a deal, and we know we've renovated so many houses before and we are actually really confident in those repairs, we sound more confident. You know, like me closing more deals, I have that confidence. It just portrays. So when I tell the truth to somebody, it works so much better. And this is kind of a double-edged sword in a good way, because when you're talking to a seller and they ask what you're here to do, what you're looking to accomplish, if you just be upfront with them and say, I'm looking to buy your house for cash, me and my partners, it's going to go so much better. You going and saying that you work with a hedge fund portfolio of investors. One of the worst lies I've seen being told out here in this industry is when you're talking to a seller and you're doing it virtually, before you give them the offer, you say you have to go to your financing department to get approval, even though you're a one-man operation.
Yeah.
That's a straight up lie, and you're going to get caught, and you're not going to sound confident with that at all.
It's not going to make you very personable. Like, so when we talk about confidence, you hear this word all the time. So many entrepreneurs and in particular wholesalers believes if they're confident enough, they can get away with a lie. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work that way. You can be extremely confident and you can believe your lie, but eventually your customer has to believe it too. And if it's a straight up lie, it's going to blow up. What happens when you go do the title work or you go to the closing table and your title company tells you, oh, you know, Rick doesn't live in Ohio. I don't know why he told you that. You could lose the entire deal over that. So like that confidence we want you all to get doesn't give you a free pass to lie to people. To be honest with you, you're better off. A lot of times people are like, hey, Rick, I'm starting out wholesaling. I don't know all the answers. And that's perfectly fine. I'd rather you say, listen, Mr. Seller, let me get that exact answer for you.
Yeah.
And if you want, I can make a phone call right now, or if you give me an hour, I'll get right back to you. That's a confidence straight up. You're not going to lie. And once you find the answer, it will build your confidence and you'll be able to handle that objection better, as opposed to saying, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. We do this all the time. I've done hundreds of deals. It's absolutely crazy. Once you start doing that, you're going to get caught because the lies will not add up for you.
I'm telling you, literally just don't lie, say the truth, and you'll go a lot farther in this business. You're confident in yourself, your reputation. You'll probably get more referrals. This is the same thing when you're co-wholesaling, JVing with other wholesalers. Mm-hmm. Your personal brand is yourself. Like when I JV with somebody, there's people in our market, we're not going to mention names, but like they are known for doing a lot of JVing, co-wholesaling, and they are known to being massive liars. And some of these people aren't even allowed at some of the biggest title companies in our market because they've lied too many times. And that person has such a bad reputation that he or she probably is losing out on a ton of deals. And it never works out.
Yeah. Do you want to do business with like someone who lies? It's ridiculous. So let's talk about the new wholesaler that comes in who hasn't even done a deal.
Yeah.
And somebody asks him up front, hey, Zach, how many deals have you done? How do they deal with that situation?
I've done about, me and my partners, we do about 4,000, a week, and we make $50 million a year. Guys, the worst, we saw I think I saw a podcast where some wholesaler, I'm not going to mention their name, claimed a $900 million net worth.
It was 900 million.
And then I saw another wholesaler who claims, what was it? You sent me the link. He or she said on a podcast that their revenue is going to be $50 to $60 million in wholesaling fees. Like, guys, once you start claiming that, your trust is going to be destroyed because unless you can back something like that up, it's a little like $60 million. Just show me 1 month, right?
In wholesaling fees,
it's unheard of.
I've never seen it before. But guys, just because I don't care if you get help from us for free, if you pay a mentor, don't let people lie to you because what proliferates to lie. So if somebody says they do $50 million in transactions a year, like in gross revenue, that's just try to reverse engineer the math on it. It's almost physically impossible without doing a ginormous corporation.
So guys, at the end of the day, just like if you are lying, you can reverse. Like that's the one thing about your reputation to a point. Like if you've been known for lying to your sellers, hey, remember the lies you do on the sellers you have under contract now. You still got to keep it. But like on the next deals, just start telling the truth. I promise you, it doesn't sound as good now, but it gets better and better and better. And now there's everything lying and exaggerating to a point. So like when I always say, like, if you're brand new in this business and someone comes up to you and they say, wow, you look really young to be buying my house. I don't think you can actually buy my house. And you're 17 years old and you're broke. Mm-hmm. Theoretically, some people might look at this video and say, oh, Mr. Seller, I only have $100 in my bank account today. Okay. You're telling the truth, technically, you're not going to get that deal. Now, if you kind of come from the perspective of, hey, me and my partners have the cash to buy the house, you're not lying. You're technically saying the truth there. Mm-hmm. That's a lot better. Now, you saying you own a multi-million-dollar brokerage that owns 500 properties and it's just the cash buyer that doesn't, you don't have that money. But if you just keep saying you and your partner, it gets a lot better. I see a lot of wholesalers out here sometimes lie, like when they go through the cash buyer to a point. It's like, hey, my insurance person has to go through, my handyman has to go through, and if they're not your real handyman and that person the cash buyer comes through and they say, hey, Mr. Handyman, is like, I'm not a handyman, I'm a house flipper, you're gonna get in big trouble. Yeah. If you're gonna say, hey, my partner wants to go by and look at it, that partner, if they're a realtor or something, they're not gonna get upset. But like some people get upset, like, oh, Miss Seller, my handyman's going to come by and it's like this big macho realtor who's got the big realtor pin. I've seen deals get destroyed because of that. Mm-hmm. Just say the truth sometimes. Like don't say it's my cash buyer going through, but like say, hey, it's my realtor, it's my handyman. Like whoever it actually is, just say the truth. It will go so much further. You don't have to lie.
Okay, so if you haven't been telling the truth and you want to be honest with yourself up to this front, just change. Here's why most people lie in wholesaling, just so you know. Number one, their ego. And number two, they're scared to have an uncomfortable conversation. The more you can get through that awkward, uncomfortable conversation, usually comes down to negotiation, the better of a foundation of a deal you're going to have. And that goes for wholesaling, creative financing, fix and flip, being a landlord, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Stop trying to avoid the uncomfortable discussions because by lying, you're just making it more uncomfortable for everybody else involved, including yourself, and it will train wreck you in the end. There's people in this business I avoid 100% because I can never get the truth out of their mouth. If you guys like know the feeling, let me know in the comments, because I just avoid people who lie like the plague, and you should do the same. If you've been lying up to this point, it's okay. Recognize it. Find out why you're lying. It's usually because you feel awkward and uncomfortable, and use the tools we teach you at freewholesaling.com, and we'll help you work through that.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of lying comes from ego or being uncomfortable. So like, what's the two? First of all, if you're uncomfortable, I know new people lie. They might lie about their age, how much money they have to a seller. That's okay. Just don't lie about your age. Own up to your age. Mr. Seller, will my age affect me buying your house if I have the funds? You and your cash buyer have the funds. Say the truth there. You'll be fine. If you own up to it, you're going to be fine. And the second part's your ego. You're networking with somebody, and a realtor wants to know how many wholesale deals you've done, and you want to lie to that realtor to sound like you're a better wholesaler. Guys, hey, no.
They're going to check you out.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
going to
hard
check you
figure
out.
it
Be straight up. They're going to go talk to the title company. Legit. Be upfront and honest with people. This ethics will help you out, and I promise you, you might not see it in the short term, but in the long term, you will make way more money. Your heart's going to feel better, and you're going to live a better life. People always complain about wholesalers being unethical, greedy, terrible. It's because a lot of them lie. And I'm telling you, you can be a wholesaler. And if you have ethics, morals, I don't need a governing body to go tell me this, to just say the truth and be ethical. Go do it yourself and make a change in the industry you want to see. And this is why we're kind of making this video today, because we don't need a governing body. It's like, just be ethical, be nice, and do what's best for everybody. And you're going to do it. Like, do what's best for the seller too. That's the last thing I want to say. Like, I've gone to appointments where legit in my heart, I knew you probably, if you want the most money for this, Mr. Seller, go list it. And they list it, we get a referral, it's fine. The thing is, if a seller wants to sign a listing agreement, they're not a good wholesaling deal for me. You going and lying to a seller, I see this happen all the time. You're going to get less money if you go with a realtor. Be upfront, own it, because that seller's going to know that you're actually in their best interest. And if they just don't want to deal with the property and they want to sell it for cash, they'll go with you.
So remember this, lying is the opposite of being authentic. Authentic is what's made me so successful, him so successful, and it's going to be the key difference that keeps you around the business. You want to be around the business 6 months? Lie. Because you will stress yourself out. You're going to lose more deals, and you're going to get branded in the industry. Guys, when your sellers ask you questions, they're looking for answers to make them feel more comfortable. Give them the authentic truth and help them out. Just because you're brand new and haven't done a deal before doesn't mean you can't help them out. At the end of the day, they want to know that you're going to follow through and get it done, and you have to follow through on it. Getting starting in wholesaling, let me let you in a little secret. It's uncomfortable. You're doing something so unconventional, nobody else has the guts to do it, and you're doing it. So embrace the uncomfortability and stop the lying, and amazing things will happen in wholesaling for you.
Boom, guys. Thank you guys so much. Keep it up. Keep it 100 with your sellers and buyers, and you'll go far in this business. If you got any value of this video, please smash that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Have a blessed one.
Thanks, guys. See you.